Good morning, kiddos, and we're so glad you're here with us again this morning for At Home with APS. Let's go ahead and start our day with our calendar. Do you remember the month? That's right, it's July. It's July, and today is Tuesday, July, can you tell what? Yesterday was July 6th, so today is July 7th. Very good. We are working on our new pattern for the days, so let's backtrack and check it out. This was one complete cycle of our pattern, so it went circle, green triangle, red circle, green square. Do you remember the other name for a square? 4 sides? Quadrilateral. Good memory. So, if today is the 7th, we had a green triangle yesterday. What comes after a green triangle in our new pattern? You're right. It's another red circle. Our red circle repeats in our pattern. We get 2 in each one. Let's go ahead and fill in our 10 frame for 7. So yesterday we had 5 and 1 more, 6. Today we'll have 5 and 2 more, 7. That's one way that we can see 7 on a 10 frame. Let's see what other ways we can see 7 when we think about today's number. This is your time. If you have a paper handy at home, fold it in half, hamburger style, and in half again. And then you'll have a paper with 4 sections, just like our today's number on the screen, and you can write along with me about our number 7. So, how do we write 7? It's a 1-digit number, right? Because we haven't yet got a 10, we just have 7 ones. How many more do we need to get to 10? 3 more, right? But for now, we just have 7 ones. How do we write the word 7? What sound do you hear first? I hear an S. Se. What makes that sound? E, right? Se. Va, 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 va. V. Uh-oh. Just a second, guys. Never fear. We will get this going on. Let's change something really fast so that hopefully doesn't happen again. There we go. Okay, so luckily we still have our 7 for number of the day. Here's how far we got for 7. Sev, another E, and we wrap up with an N. 7. That's how we write 7 as a word. All right, so what are some other ways we could represent 7? Yesterday, our number of the day was 6, and we used a dot pattern because we've been thinking a lot about dot patterns, and our dot pattern for 6 happens to be a double 3, right? And we've been talking a lot about doubles. So you know, the dot pattern for 7 is just like 6 with 1 more dot in the middle. And that's our dot pattern for 7. How else could we show 7? Well, you know, this makes me think about, since 6 is a doubles pattern, 3 and 3, and for 7 we add 1 more. 7 is almost a double. It's like a doubles plus 1, which is what you had been working on with Mrs. Obenshane earlier in the week or last week. So let's take a look at what those look like on a frame. Here's 6 on a pairwise frame, right? 3 and 3, we can see our doubles pattern. So if we wanted to change this 6 to a 7, what would it look like? We'd be adding on 1 more dot, and it would look like this, right? Our double 3 for 6 plus 1 more is what 7 would look like on this type of frame. let's think about how we could show 7 with an equation. So if we go back to our 5+ frame that we have on our calendar, we could show 7 as, how many on the top there? 5, right? Plus 2 more gave us 7, right? What if we think about 7 compared to 10? How many more do we need for 10? We could write that as a subtraction problem, right? That would equal 7. 7 is 10 minus, how many are missing here? 3. 10 minus 3 would also give us 7. Let's think about, oh, you know what? Let's think about our pairwise frame. Here's what 7 looks like here. What addition sentence could we use for this? How many on the top? 4. And how many on the bottom? 3. 4 and 3 make 7. And that, again, is that near doubles fact, right? 3 and 3 plus 1 more. 3 plus 4 gives us our 7. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at our counting jar. Today we're going to count erasers. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. How many erasers do we have? 17, that's right. And there is our number of the day is inside that number 17, isn't it? Let's go ahead and write 17. So 17, oh, that reminded me I forgot to add something to our number of the day. I'll go ahead and write our 17, right? So this is what 17 looks like. And it has a 7 in it because 17 is 7 more than 10. It's 10 and 7 more. Let's go back to our number of the day since Miss Carnes forgot to do the hundreds chart part. Silly. Good thing we had 17 in our counting jar, so I remembered. So here's our 7, right? So on our hundreds chart, what number would come right after 7? That's right, it would be 8. 8 is the very next number. And what would be the number right before 7? 7, can you count back? Comes right before. 6, very good. And we can always check our hundreds chart if we're not sure. It's a good way to get it into your brain. Now, can we make a big jump back of 10 on our hundreds chart from 7? We cannot. But can we make a big jump forward, 10 more than 7? Yes, we can. And what number is that? Same number of erasers that we have in our counting jar, right? 10 more than 7 is 17. 17 is 10 plus 7. So it's 10 more than 7. Whew, okay, so now we've got that done. Back to our counting jar. So we counted 17 erasers. So if you're a kindergartner, we want you to go ahead and take a look at home and see if you can find 17 things to count. Is that more or less than we had yesterday? Yesterday we had 22. So 17 is not as much. It's less than 22. Let's try to count up to figure it out. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So 17 is 5 less than 22, the number we had in yesterday's counting jar. So, kindergartners, find 17 things if you can to count. If you're a first grader, we're gonna double that. Let's think about how we can do it. There's a 10 inside of 17, so 2 10s gives us 20, right? And what's 7 plus 7? 14. So then we can put those two together. 20 plus 14 gives us 34 if you're in first grade. And if you're in second grade, you're going to double this. So we have a 30 inside 34 and a 4. 30 plus 30 is 60, right? So that's going to give us our 6 in the tens place. And 4 plus 4, you know that double. That's right, it's 8. 68 things if you are in second grade. Nice job. Oh, God. I forgot to talk about days of the week. So, today, do you remember what today is? Today is Tuesday, the 7th. So, if today is Tuesday, what day was yesterday? Yesterday was Monday, the very first day of our work week or school week. So, yesterday was Monday, today is Tuesday. What day will be tomorrow? That's right, Wednesday. Terrific. Thanks for the reminder about talking about the days of the week. We're going to do a little bit of counting. We're going to do some interesting counting today. We're going to count by twos, but guess what? We're going to count from 7. Did you know you could do that? Just like we can count by 10s from any number, we can count by 2s from any number too. Let's do a little practice with that. So 7, remember it's like counting every other one. You can do a little whisper count too if you need. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So there was a little counting by twos, but from 7. That made a different pattern of numbers, didn't it, than when we usually count by twos. And we're going to talk a little bit more about those types of numbers today. Let's go ahead and look at our riddle. Our riddle is double delights. Oh, this is a perfect one for being kind of close still to the 4th of July. We got fireworks. Waiting is the hardest part. Please, oh please, just make it dark. Bursts of color high above, booming noises that I love. Can you count each spark of light? Here's a way that's really bright. Instead of counting everyone, double half, and you'll be done. So we can see from the picture, half of our firework is red and half is blue. So let's count the reds and then see if we can double. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what's the double of 5? 5 plus 5. You know that one. It's 10. So we didn't have to count them all. We counted half and then we doubled to get 10. Very good. I think we have time to pop up our vocabulary, and then we're going to have Mrs. Ovenshane come out with a task. Okay. So, our first word is the word logic. Logic is when you use your brain to figure out a problem and you keep asking yourself, is that correct? Is that accurate? Do I think I'm right? And you use your thinking power to sort it out. Logic. Our other words are odd and even, and this connects to our counting and to our frames. So when a number is odd, like 7 is an odd number. If you were to break 7 up into its pieces, into ones, then guess what? There's one piece that doesn't have a partner. That's how an odd number works. Now, if you had an even number, like 6, and you broke it up into pieces, then every one inside of 6 would have a partner, and that means it's even. Today, our number of the day was odd, and since we counted by twos from our number of the day, We counted all odd numbers. And I'm going to invite Mrs. Obenchain to come up so she can get started while I tape this word up.
All right, and then maybe will you just change
Yes.
So we're going to use some logic today, like Ms. Carnes was just talking about, to solve some puzzles. And you read a puzzle out of the puzzle book, and we're going to do that a little bit more today. We're going to do something called 10-frame puzzles. So while I'm pulling this stuff out, you can either print off a blank 10-frame from the website, or you can just take a piece of paper and draw a rectangle and then divide it in half and then divide it with 4 lines so that you have 5 spots on the bottom and 5 spots on the top. It's really easy to draw your own 10-frame. So get yourself a 10-frame, either draw it or print out one of our frames, and 10 things so that you can be figuring these out with me while we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and put these 10 frames up here for us to be thinking about, because we're going to use the clues that we're given and some logic to try to solve some riddles. I've got these in order, and we've been working a lot on what these 10 frames look like, but I did put them in order so it'll be helpful for us to remember. You can see the pattern growing by 1 every time. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 on our frames. Okay, so all right, we're going to do our 10-frame riddles. We're not going to write on there, so I'll turn that off. Okay, so our first riddle is going to start out with, my 10-frame has fewer than 9 counters. Ooh, I was going to put my secret frame over here, so I'll let you think about that. My 10-frame has fewer than 9 counters. So what can we eliminate then? I'm going to put this down here so people can see it. Does 10 have fewer than 9 counters? It doesn't. It has more. And 9 has 9 counters, and the clue says fewer, so that has to mean less, right? So I think we could get rid of 9. If you're building this on a 10-frame, you can take off at least 1 counter of your frame, right, from your full frame. It's got to be one of these other ones that we're working with, right? Let's get another clue. My 10-frame has more than 4 counters. So which ones can I eliminate now? Which ones logically won't fit? Does this one have more than 4 counters on it? Nope. Does this one? Nope. I can get rid of the 2. I can get rid of the 3. Can I get rid of the 4? I can, can't I? Because it says more than 4 counters. So we can get rid of the 4. Oh, we're really ruling it out now. It's got to be either 5, 6, 7, or 8 that we're working with, right? Oh, my 10-frame has an odd number of counters. You guys were just talking about odd and even. And so that means that there's 1 extra if we put them in half. So I'm going to get these pairwise counters so we can really see which ones of these are odd. So we have 5 left, we have 6 left, we have 7, and we have 8. So let me find those in here. And we can decide if they're odd or even. All right, here's 5. What do you think? Is that an odd or an even number? That's going to be an odd number, right? Because it's got this extra one. These are even groups when we divide it in half, but this is an odd one. So 5 can stay up there. What about 6? That's right, it's an even number. So if our frame is odd, we can take 6 out. How about 7? Is 7 an odd number? It is. There's an extra one, right? We just talked about the number of the day being an odd number. So 7 can stay up there. And 8? What do you think about 8? It's an even number, right? It makes even groups. So we have to get rid of 8. So we have eliminated everything but 5 and 7 must be on the 10 frame from the riddle. Let's see what one more clue, if it really helps us figure it out. My 10 frame has one more than 6 counters. Which frame do you think it's going to be? Does 5 have one more? 5 has one less, doesn't it? So my guess is that it's going to be 7. Do you agree? Let's look and see. Was that right? It is 7. All right. Go ahead and refill your frame. And let's check. I think it'll tell us the answer. My 10 frame has 7. Here's our riddle number 2. Let's see. Let's put these back up here so we can do an elimination. The 10 frame, it says, has more than 2 counters, so I guess I can get rid of anything that has less than 2 or 2 on it, right? So 5 would stay up there, 4 would stay up there, but 0, 1, and 2, we already know it has more than 2, so it can't be. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, we need 7, don't we? 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, let's see what we can rule out. My 10 frame has fewer than 8 counters. So you probably have to take a few off of your frame if you're building this at home, right? Fewer than 8 counters. So that rules out, does that rule out 10? 10 has more, so it would not fit that. 9 is more. And 8, it says fewer than 8, so it can't even be 8, can it? So you could take off 2 counters off your frames. And we know from our other clue that it's got to be more than 2. So we're somewhere in between 3 and 7 again. My 10 frame has an odd number of counters. So let's look. Which of these are even or odd? We'll use our pairwise to help us with that. Here's 3. Even or odd? That's right, it's odd because it has this one extra one when you partner them up. So odd can stay up there and the 3 can stay up there. How about the 4? Nope, it's an even number, so we have to take 4 out. We can rule that out. 5, I think we already decided last time, was an odd number because it has an extra one, right? What about 6? Remember that from last time? It's even. So we can take 6 out. And then we already know 7 was odd from our last puzzle, right? Here was what 7 was. Are you noticing a pattern here? 3, 5, 7, it's like every other number, right? So it's going to be either 3, 5, or 7. My 10 frame has fewer than 5 counters. Wow, that really narrows it down, doesn't it? Which one of these has fewer than 5 counters on it? You're right, 3. We can take 2 of these off right away. That's what I think. I think it's 3. Let's check. You were right. The 10 frame has 3. All right, the last one we're going to do today is we're going to use a double 10 frame. So I'm going to have to build that on here so we can try to figure out what that looks like. So our first clue says that the double 10 frame has more than 8 counters. So really, it could be anything up to 20, couldn't it? I can't really rule anything out yet. Let's see if we get a clue that helps us rule it out a little bit. My double 10 frame has fewer than 17 counters. So I can take off 20, I can take off 19 and 18, right? And 17. Can I take off more than that? I could take off one more because it says fewer than 17, so that means even less, right? So it's got to be 16 or less on our frame. My double 10 frame has a number of counters, you say, when you're skip counting by threes. Huh. So let's see. 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 15 would be the last one that would be counting by threes. So I guess I could get rid of this one, can't I? Because we could do 3, 6, 9, 12, or 15 if we were counting in groups of 3. My double 10 frame has 3 rows of 5 counters. Do you see 3 rows of 5 counters? I think so, right? 1, 2, 3. I think 15 must be the answer. Is that what you have? Let's check and see. My double 10 frame has 15. All right, so that was fun doing some solving of riddles. There are some more riddles that you can solve on our website if you want to spend a little more time working on these 10 frame riddles. The other thing that we're going to talk about, yesterday we started really thinking a little bit more about not just what was on our 10 frame, but what were the number combinations that went together to make 10. And so we're going to think about that again, just because we're going to keep working on that. Do you remember what some of those were? Actually, I think we'll use, these aren't very big though. We'll use these. All right, so I'm going to move these so that we can chart some of those in case we want to come back to them. We were thinking about it with mouse count, and then we were thinking about it with the 10 frame card game, or the 10 make 10 card game that we played yesterday. But our chart had a lot of information on it. So we're just going to make this chart so that it has just what makes 10. Because this is a really important combination for you to be thinking about, and you can use it to help you with addition. So if I have 0 on my frame, how many do I need to make 10? I need all of them, right? So I need 10. So one combination that makes 10 is 0 and 10. And we know, because we've talked a lot about this, that we could flip that around, right? If I have all 10 on my frame, how many do I need? 0. So 10 and 0 make 10. What if I have 9? How many do I need? Right, just 1. You can see it. And the opposite of that is if I have 1, I would need all 9 in order to make 10. So that's another combination. 9 and 1, or 1 and 9. How else could we make 10? What if we're working from 8? How many do we need? 2. So 8 and 2, or 2 and 8. We've got just a few more. And then I think it'll be time for a story. 7 and 3. Or we can flip those around and do 3 and 7. That was on our today's number, wasn't it? 6 and 4 will make 10. And our last one, which I think you guys all know, it's a double. 5 and 5 will make 10. So when you're doing riddles, and if you decide you want to make some of your own riddles, you could also add in questions that talk about combinations to make 10 so that you can get some practice with that. All right, let's see what book Miss Carnes has for us.
All right. And Mrs. Obenshane's 10 frame riddles are really going to help us with this too. So that is super cool. Okay. I'm going to change things up on our board before we get started. Oh, that wasn't it. This one. Maybe, yes. Okay, so we're going to read our book under the document camera today. All right, so today's story is called One Watermelon Seed. And it was written by Celia Barker Lottridge, and it was illustrated by Karen Potkow. And it is a Oxford University Press book. What do you know about this book just by looking at the cover? Looks like there is a lot of big gardening going on in this story, right? And from the title, I bet there might be some watermelons. And it looks like there's going to be lots and lots of different fruits and vegetables. This is a good story to read because this is gardening time, isn't it? Summertime is gardening time. Okay. Max and Josephine planted a garden. They planted one watermelon seed, and it grew. They planted 2 pumpkin seeds, and they grew 2. So we have 1, 2. Max planted 3 eggplants. 1, 2, 3, and they grew. Josephine planted 4 pepper seeds. 1, 2, 3, 4, and they grew. Then she planted 5 tomato plants, and they grew. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They've already planted quite a few things. Max planted 6 blueberry bushes. Yum. And they grew. Can you see the 6? Do you need to count them? I see our doubles pattern. 3 and 3 blueberry bushes for 6. Good noticing. And 7 strawberry plants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And yep, they grew too. Josephine planted 8 bean plants. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many more to count? 4 more. 5, 6, 7, 8. And they grew. And 9 seed potatoes. And they grew. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And from our potatoes, we can see that 9 is also 3 plus 3 plus 3, isn't it? They planted 10 corn seeds, and they grew. The corns are in even rows. So how many do you guess is in each row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So how many here? Also 5. 5 and 5 gives us 10. The rain fell and the sun shone. The seeds and the leaves, the stalks and the vines grew and grew and grew. We're going to take a pause now from our book, and we're going to think a little bit about the seeds that Max and Josephine planted. We got some practice counting to 10, right? And counting to numbers up to 10 by counting the seeds, right? Because we counted 1 watermelon seed, 2, what do we have 2 of? 2 pumpkins, 3 eggplants, 4 peppers, yes, 5 tomatoes, 6 yummy blueberry bushes, 7 strawberries, 8 beans, 9 potatoes, and 10 corn seeds. So we practiced quite a bit counting up to these numbers. But what I'm wondering about is, could we figure out how many seeds they planted all together? I think it might be a really lot. What do you think? Let's see if there's a way that we could do it. Let's look at our numbers. Let's think about 10 frame riddles and ways to make 10. Do you think we could use tens to help us figure out how many? Let's see if we can find some tens to make. How about it? Well, I see a combination here, 1 and 9, right? 1 and 9 makes 10, doesn't it? So we've added together 2 numbers from our seed count. Do you see another? How about 2? What goes with 2 to make 10? 2 plus 8. 2 and 8 also go together to make 10. So there's another 10. How about 3? What goes along with 3 to make 10? Can you remember? 3 and 7. 3 and 7 go together to make another 10. Well, we are just adding away. You think we can figure out how many? Then we have 4. What goes with 4 to make 10? Is it 5? No. 2 5s go together to make 10. What about 4 and 6? Yep, I think 4 and 6 will go together to give us 10. Okay, so did we leave anything out? I see, here's another 10 all by itself, right? If we wrote that as an equation, it would be 10 plus 0. So we have 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. Did we leave anyone out? 5. Yes, we did. We left out the 5. So let's see now. Oh, I love it when I catch those. Okay. So don't forget our 5. And let's figure out how many seeds they planted. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, plus 5 more. 55 seeds planted. And when we looked for those combinations of 10, it was pretty easy to figure out how many, wasn't it? We added all those numbers up pretty quickly. Let's finish the book. Okay. So, here we are. Max and Josephine weeded and watered and waited. One day, they looked at their garden and saw that there was plenty to pick. So, this is the fun part of the garden, harvest time. You get to pick and eat what you planted. They picked 10 watermelons, big and green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 is hiding. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And they picked 20 pumpkins, glowing orange. There's 2 rows. I bet you there's 10 in each row, right? 10 and 10 gives us 20 pumpkins. Look at these. Max picked 30 eggplants, dark and purple. See the eggplants? And you know what I know about this book? On a lot of pages in this book, the fruits and vegetables are in tens, so we could count them by tens. 10, 20, 30 eggplants. And he picked 40 peppers, shiny yellow. 10, 20, 30, 40. They both picked 50 tomatoes, plump and juicy. That is a ton of tomatoes. And 60 blueberries, small and round. Josephine picked 70 strawberries, sweet and red. Oh, yum, yum, yum. And Max picked 80 string beans, thin and crisp. Josephine dug 90 potatoes, knobby and brown. And they picked 100 ears of corn. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Yep, 100. There's really 100. So now, I'm wondering, kind of a similar question. We got some practice counting by tens. But could we figure out how many vegetables Max and Josephine harvested in all? It was 10 watermelons, 20, I can't remember. Let me see. Let's check, because it's fun to know. 20 pumpkins, 30 eggplants, 40 peppers, 50 tomatoes they got, 60 blueberries, 70 strawberries, 80 beans, 90 potatoes, and 100 ears of corn. I'm wondering if we could add these up in kind of a similar way. How we use 10 over here, could we do something similar here? What number would we use? 100? Let's see if we can make 100s. Let's try, okay? So, let's see. 10, what would go with 10 to make 100, right? What went with 1 to make 10? It was 9, right? And what goes with 10 to make 100 is 90. What would go with 20 to make 100? 2 and 8 make 10. So 20 and 80, I think then would make 100. Another 100. I think these are going to add up fast. What do you think? What would go with 30 to make 100? 3 and 7 make 10. So 30 and 70, I think will make 100. There's another one. How about 40? How many more do we need to make 100 from 40? 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 6 more 10s, so that means 40 and 60. Make another 100. And we have this guy down here, 100 all by itself. So that would be, right, kind of like 100 and 0. Did we leave someone out again? Yep. Can't forget the 50. Okay, let's see if we can figure out how many fruits and vegetables Max and Josephine harvested. Count with me by 100s. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, plus 50 more. How much did they get? A lot. 550 fruits and vegetables. That is quite a garden, kiddos. If you have a chance to plant Even just one plant, or if there's a garden near your house you can visit, that's a wonderful thing to do this summer. And we're going to turn it over now to Mrs. Obenshane.
Wow, I really liked that book. Made me want to go and plant a garden. Or at least go to the grocery store and get some fruits and vegetables. Oh, this is gonna stick up on here for me. I'm just going to put our hundreds chart up here so that we can do a little bit of counting, because our last game of the day is a counting game, but it's the kind of counting we haven't done for a little while, and it's really good practice. So we haven't been counting backwards in a little bit. So we're going to practice counting backwards, and we're going to do it in our teen numbers, because those teen numbers are tricky, right? So I think we'll count up to 21, because our deck of cards is going to end at 21, and then we'll practice counting backwards, and then that'll help us set our game up right here, where we're going to set our game up. All right, so let's count forwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Now we're going to go backwards. 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. We're going to stop there. That's what our deck of cards is going to be. So this game is called Treasure Hunt, and I'm going to start with the 21 showing, because we're going to practice backwards counting. If you wanted to practice counting forwards from 10, you could just start with your 10 showing. And then I'm going to take the rest of the cards. I'm going to take out some, because we've got some treasures in here. And then Miss Carnes, I have to make sure that the ones I'm taking out are not treasures, because I need those to be mixed up in the deck. And then I'm going to kind of randomly put these around. We could practice saying the numbers when we're doing it. 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. I'm still trying to mix them up a little bit. 14, 13, 12. We might run out a little bit here. 11 and 10. Those are going to have to be our last two. We'll have to use 2 rows on this chart. 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. Okay, so we'll kind of go like that. If you've got a bigger space, you want to just lay them out in one straight line. And then we've got some cards over here that I left out. Remember, I have my start cards, and they match the number of treasures I put in my deck, and I just made sure they weren't treasures. And there's a deck of cards and instructions on the website for you to play this game if you'd like to. And then Miss Carnes is going to come out here with us, and I will draw a card, and I'm going to try to place this card. So what did I get? A 1 and a 3. I got 13. So I need to practice counting. And the cards are the same on this deck, so I can put them in either row. And there's no 13 showing anywhere. So I'm going to try to figure out where 13 goes. 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13. So I pick up the card that was in that spot, and I put 13 in its right place. And then I look to see what I got. I like to play this game so that I'll do 2 or 3 cards, and then my partner will do 2 or 3 cards. The directions might be written so that you do it until you get a treasure. Either way, it's fine, but it makes the game go kind of fast. You could even trade every card if you wanted to. So I got 16. I'm going to work in the same row that I'm in. 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16. 20, I've got one more chance. 21, 20. Let's see if I found a treasure. I did. In this deck of cards, their stars are the treasures. So I get to keep this treasure, and Miss Carnes picks a new card, and she starts to try to put the cards in order.
What number did I get? A really good number we've been talking about a lot today. 10. Let's figure out where 10 goes. So I could go to either row. I could keep working in Mrs. Obenshain's row, or I could work in the top row. And I think I'll get the top row started, okay? So let's count back and see where 10 goes. 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10.
Did you get a treasure?
I got a treasure.
She got a treasure on the first round. So then I take a new card and I start over again. Wow, that was pretty lucky. Look what I got. A 1 and a 9. 19. Maybe I'll just keep working on this row because it's getting pretty close, right? Or closer. 20, 21, 20, 19. Maybe I'll get a treasure. I did. I got lucky that time too.
Wow.
So then Miss Carnes draws.
Okay. I got, what's this number? A 1 and a 5. 15. Okay. So, if I work in Mrs. Obenshain's row, I can see right where it goes, can I, right? Because 15 comes right before 16. But I want to count it for practice. 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. There's 15.
Right where she thought it was going to go, isn't it?
Yeah. And I got another 10. This time, I can't work in this row, can I? Because I've already placed a 10 here. So I need to work down here. Let's count back. Do you know where it's going to go? The top row can help us, but let's practice counting. 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. I got a treasure.
Wow.
So it's Mrs. Obenshain's turn again.
Okay, my turn. I got a 1 and a 7. 17. Remember these teens when we talked about them last time, how they're tricky because even though the 1 isn't here and the 7 is here, you start thinking about the 7 first to say the number, right? 17. 17. 21, 20, 19, 18, 17. And I could have thought about the same thing Miss Carnes did and thought, well, what comes after 16 is 17, right? 12, 21, 20, 19, 18, 16, nope, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. And I know this is a 12 because it's a 1 and a 2 instead of the 21, that's a 2 and a 1.
Those are tricky.
And then I got a 19. I'm going to have to go up on this row again because there's already one here. 21, 20, 19. And I did not get a treasure. So Miss Carnes then would get that card, and she'd start with that card.
Okay.
Maybe we can go just a few more minutes. Maybe we'll be able to finish out one row.
That would be great. So this card has a 1 and a 4, so it's 14, right? Okay, so we'll try to finish out this row that has lots of numbers showing. Count back with me. Can you already tell where it's going to go? Good for you if you know. 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. That's right, 14 comes right after 13 and right before 15. And now I have a 16, so I have to pop up to the top row.
I think that we're about out of time, Miss Carnes, so we should probably wrap up.
Darn.
I don't think we'll be able to finish our entire chart, but you would keep going with this game until you had all of both of your rows right in order.
And whoever gets the most treasures wins, and so guess what? Today we are tied.
Anyway, we just want to remind you about counting collections to match your counting jar and doing 10 frame riddles. And we thank you for joining us today for At Home with APS. Have a nice day.